Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the 60th edition of Palm Tree Sports. My name is Corey Pujols, I'm your host, and as always it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And guys, since you loved it so much last time, I have a special guest with me one more time, my old man. Welcome to the show again, Dad.
Happy belated New Year, everybody!
Yes, sir. Happy belated New Year's to everybody, of course. It's been a pleasure, to have this opportunity to share with you guys, especially coming into the new year with a whole bunch of new things to talk about. And, that's why I had to bring my old man back on, of course. It's going to be very important for us to stress some of these details, especially with some of the sports that we're going to talk about. So I think it's nice to have somebody with the experience that my dad has and brings to the table here. So I brought him back again for this show, and I'm just glad that he was received as well as he was last time. And I look forward to doing this many more times. But as always, we have a lot of things to go over, and it's more detailed this show than maybe other shows have been. So we're going to talk about a few particular things taking place. We're going to start, of course, with the NFL as we normally do. So, put your underwear on and get ready, guys. It's time to jump into this, all right? So first things first. We always open with the NFL, and we're going to talk about Tampa Bay. That's usually the longest part of the segment, and we have a few interesting things to talk about this year. The first thing I want to talk about before we actually get directly into Tampa Bay is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has never happened before. If the Bucks, the Jags, and the Finns win, they all win their division tomorrow. How insane is that?
That'll be a pleasant sense of insanity. I'd like that craziness. Yes. Rock on Florida. There we go.
Right. Again, I don't think that's ever happened before in the history of the NFL. So, guys, if you aren't familiar, Tampa Bay has won 2 Super Bowls. The Miami Dolphins also, I believe, have 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have the Jaguars.
That perfect season.
Right, the perfect season. And then you have the Jags. The Jags have never won a Super Bowl, and they've never been to a Super Bowl, okay? But they've made the playoffs a lot in their young tenure as a football team. So this is something very interesting to take in consideration. Having 3 teams in the state, they all may win their division tomorrow. All they have to do is win. Now, it sounds all easy, fine, and dandy, but we're going to break down exactly why it's definitely not going to be an easy thing for us to do here in the state of Florida, and also why some teams, Tampa Bay, okay, may not want to win tomorrow, okay? And I know that sounds crazy. Why wouldn't you want your home team to win? Well, stay tuned. We're about to jump in that in 3, 2, 1. So the Buccaneers are going to go visit the Panthers tomorrow, okay? So here's the deal. The NFC South is in complete disarray. Nobody knows what's going to happen here, and there are a bunch of different things that could take place. Believe it or not, I believe all 3 teams, the Bucs, the Saints, and the Falcons, all have a chance to escape this division. The reason why, though, is because the Saints play the Falcons, okay, tomorrow. So whichever team wins there is going to hold the tiebreaker over each other, regardless of what happens with Tampa Bay. But what happens is Tampa Bay has to win in order to win the division. In other words, Tampa Bay has the best chance to win the division, but if they don't win, they don't make the playoffs. There's no real scenario. There's a minute scenario that could take place, right? But it's not going to. Let's just be, real here. The likelihood of Tampa Bay making the playoffs by winning the division would mean that the Saints first off have to lose to Atlanta, and not only that, the Bucs need more help. They need a team that beat Atlanta earlier in the season also to win. Okay, and by doing that, Tampa Bay would then fundamentally have the tiebreaker with that late win against Atlanta this season, okay, to make the playoffs, with all 3 of those teams having an 8-9 record. That's absolutely insane, and I just don't buy it. I don't see that happening, and not only do I not see it happening, I think Tampa Bay will win tomorrow. However, do I want Tampa Bay to win tomorrow? That's the question.
That's another story.
Here's the deal, okay? The Panthers, they're terrible, right? They're 2-14. They're in a rebuild. The Bucs are 8-8. They could win the division. The problem with them winning the division is, do we want to take this team okay, to the playoffs. I want you guys to think long and hard. Of all the teams in the NFC, explain to me what team Tampa Bay is supposed to beat if they win the division. Because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't see Tampa Bay beating the Cowboys. Do they have a chance? Yes. But what's the percentage? It's like less than 20%, okay? Like, let's be clear here. Any team that has a decent quarterback, I cannot fundamentally say that Tampa Bay will run away from, because look at all the teams that we've played this year and tell me how many good quarterbacks we've beaten this year. The only one that comes to mind is an injured quarterback in Kirk Cousins. All the other quarterbacks we played against, not very good. That we were these games that we were winning were against teams that weren't that good.
Jordan Love, Green Bay.
Jordan Love in Green Bay is a decent quarterback, he is, but he's in his first year taking over a spot that didn't do as well as they could have done last year, especially with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. So I think Green Bay is a great football team? Yes, I've always had respect for Green Bay. However, it's very rare that you see a quarterback come off the bench and just, guide a team, to the playoffs. This is about where I expected the Packers to be, especially with some of the issues that they've dealt with as far as their team is concerned, especially with losing Aaron Rodgers to the Jets last year, okay? And that's one of the biggest things that I've taken in consideration when it comes down to the Packers. Jordan Love, good quarterback, but he's still young. He's still taking over the team. So I'm not going to look at him and treat him as if he is a Jalen Hurts, right? Or even Brock Purdy at this point in time, So that's something else to take in consideration with Tampa Bay. Now, let me ask you a question, Dad. What do you think? What do you want to see from Tampa Bay tomorrow?
Well, first, let me just say one thing real quick about the Saints. Okay, that game, I went to that game. Yeah. Is a good way of putting it. Shout out, Joe. Thank you for the ticket, brother. Happy New Year's to you.
Hey, Uncle Joe. Love you.
All right. Saints came to play. The Bucks did not come to play. You got some statistics that happened late that helped out a couple of players, like Rashad White now 85 yards away from 1,000. Chris Godwin only 27 yards away from 1,000. Mike Evans only needs one more TD to reach his season high of 14. Yeah. I mean, that's nice. That's pretty. Should have been done. Should have been done in our house. Okay? I'm not holding back on that. I'm a little loud. Forgive me. But I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. Tampa Bay should have never put themselves in this position in the first place.
I agree.
I agree with T-Rod. Bucks should not lose to Carolina. But if they do lose to Carolina, clean out the house.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. I think that's a perfect way to actually get into this game tomorrow, especially by reflecting on last week, because that was a big thing that I felt as well. I was very excited to see that Tampa Bay had a chance to win the division in their own house, which is something I feel like we haven't done in God knows how long. But realistically speaking, that game against the Saints was any type of precursor to what the playoffs is going to be like. I don't want to see Tampa Bay in it. Because here's what my issue is. Tampa Bay makes the playoffs, all right? Todd Bowles has just not been very good at head coach this year. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. He's been pretty much atrocious, okay? And when I look at that and I say if he wins this division, he likely keeps his job. If he likely keeps his job, how many more years of 8-9 records or 9-8 records are we going to sit here and be expecting from this point forward? As a franchise that used to have Tom Brady at quarterback, I don't feel comfortable looking at Tampa Bay and saying, oh yeah, we're a very successful team at 9-8. I don't feel comfortable saying that. I support my team. I love my team. I do. But I also want the team to do what's best for the team. And that's something else to take in consideration when you ask yourself if you want them to beat the Panthers tomorrow. Because guess what happens if you beat the Panthers tomorrow? Your draft choice goes from somewhere around the early teens, right, to like the late teens. And for those of you who have watched the draft in enough years, you guys know that the talent that's within the first 10 to 15 picks are dwarfing the talent that you find later, except for in situations like with Lamar Jackson. See, now, if you watch enough college football, you knew Lamar Jackson was by far going to be the best quarterback coming out of that draft. But that's if you watch college football. If you didn't watch college football and you're just relying on analysts to tell you exactly what they think, analysts are biased. They can claim not to be, but they're biased. Why? Well, they can't go to every single game. They can't watch every single snap. They can't talk to every single coach. And if you don't take that in consideration when you're drafting players and you look at what the ceiling has to offer for them, you're going to pick incorrectly, which is what 4 other teams did in that year, except for the Ravens. And that's why the Ravens have the current, and I'm going to say it here, MVP of NFL football. I've been saying the Ravens are the best team for the better half of this year now. Lamar Jackson's the MVP, and if you guys think otherwise, you're confused. Yes, Christian McCaffrey's making it a close race, but let's trade places, okay? If you put Lamar on the 49ers, not much changes. If you put Christian McCaffrey on the Ravens, not much changes. So who's the more valuable piece? The quarterback. The quarterback's more valuable.
He's the leader.
He's the leader. He's the signal caller. He's the guy guaranteed to touch the ball every single down. And whenever you have 2 players that are playing as well as both Christian McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson are going, you have to go with who has the more important role. And that's going to be Lamar. Especially after what he did against Miami last week. We'll talk about that in a second. But you heard it here first, folks. Tampa Bay has got to figure something out tomorrow. And they have to figure it out expeditiously, okay? And I mean with a certainty. Like they know that they're going to play some of their best football tomorrow. They're going to build some momentum. They're going to go into the playoffs, and it's not going to be a first-round exit. Because I'm telling you right now, if the Bucs were to win tomorrow, and it's a first-round exit in the playoffs, you still got to fire Todd Bowles. You have to. Because realistically speaking, I think he's the problem right now. I think it's Todd.
And one other thing to put in there, that happened to another coach that we know.
Yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer coach.
Some guy that helped build a franchise.
Yeah, and got them back on track. Tony Dungy.
It must have been Tony.
Shout out Tony Dungy.
Had to be Tony. So for those of you who don't know, Tony Dungy is actually directly responsible for putting together the roster that would eventually go on to win the 2002 Super Bowl and perhaps record the greatest defensive season by any football team ever, posting 2 different shutouts, picking off the quarterback 5 times in the Super Bowl, sacking him 4 times, and returning 3 of those interceptions for touchdowns. Okay, that defense was put together by Tony Dungy, okay, who would go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts as a defensive-minded head coach. How did he do that? Because he already had Peyton Manning. So now all he had to do was bring the defense, which is something he had been doing his entire career in Tampa Bay. Guys, this is very simple. Either that's what the Bucs turn into tomorrow and carry that into the playoffs, or Todd Bowles has to go. Okay, so and if you guys look at what happened after Tony Dungy left the team, because mind you, we already had a great defense. What did we do? We went out and got a guy named John Gruden.
Yeah,
that guy. Y'all remember him?
Yeah.
And John Gruden, the 2 years before coming to Tampa Bay, led the Raiders to 2 AFC titles, or not AFC titles, but 2 AFC West titles.
Yes.
Okay.
With the Raiders.
With the Raiders. That was huge. Now the Raiders would go on to play in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay had their number. So there's an example right there as to what could happen when Tampa Bay has the kind of roster that they have right now. Okay. So it's ridiculous to think that we're sitting here 8-8 and we have to beat the Panthers to win the division. The fact that we can still do it is a great thing, but realistically speaking, I don't want it to happen. I want the draft pick. I want to be able to free up some cap space this offseason, and I think I want somebody else who's a little bit more offensive-minded here at head coach. Okay? That's the synopsis. That's what we're rocking with. As far as what's next for Tampa Bay, well, depending on what takes place with this game, we could see a major shift. I think that if Tampa Bay was to lose the game tomorrow, their draft stock would increase dramatically, which means they have a chance to get a better quarterback, which would then make the quarterback competition in Tampa Bay a lot more fundamental, which is what I think it needs to be. Kyle Trask has not been a solid backup quarterback, nor has he been somebody that the Bucs want to put in. If that was the case, they would have tried it already, especially when we were in that losing spell earlier in the year.
They don't want him in there.
They don't want him in there. So that's what's going on there for Tampa, guys. It's very simple. T-Rod, great point that you put in there. And, hopefully we'll see what happens. Like I said, I believe we're not losing the Carolinas. I do believe that, but in the event that we did, it could be a more of a blessing in disguise than winning. That's my viewpoint on that. Dad, do you have anything else?
Real quick, congratulations, Michael Evans, making Pro Bowl. Tristan Wirfs and Antonio. Where's Phil?
Some junior.
Junior?
Some junior guy.
Forced alternate?
Yeah, first
What?
best safety in the league, huh?
What?
Best safety in the league, and he's an
He
alternate
should
for the
be
Pro Bowl.
in. You gotta be kidding me. Hey, we're in Florida. We know about recounts. His dad's already asking for a recount, okay? So we're already starting with recounts for this season. Just letting you know.
Well, do you know what I think is interesting about this? A great point that you bring up, and the reason why I think that is because who did he get snubbed for? Buda Baker? What did he do
Huh?
this year?
11 games?
The- Wait, what's the Cardinals record?
What?
13-12?
No. What?
Why would I don't? Okay, so as you
Is
guys,
this a DEI thing? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
it might be. Listen. At this point, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going on here, guys. But again, I'm going to say this for the third or fourth consecutive week. If you have not looked at Antoine Winfield Jr.'s body of work this year, if you guys have not seen what he's done, I invite you to go on YouTube and type in Buccaneer highlights. Because there's one player you're going to see every freaking week making plays. Mm-hmm. It's Antoine Winfield Jr. Okay? Yeah. The guy is cracked. What is it? 100 and what's that stat? That stat line. He's got 3 interceptions this year. He's got 5 sacks.
I got it.
He's got 5 fumble recoveries and 2 forced fumbles or something like that.
It's insane.
And I don't remember exactly how many tackles it was. I don't think it was over 100, but he was up there. Like, let's just be honest here. Antoine Winfield's being robbed.
Yeah,
okay?
he was robbed.
He's being
like
robbed.
Levante David did back in the day.
Like Levante David did back in the day. I'm not sure what's going on there, guys, but that's something else to keep in consideration when we're talking about the Pro Bowl. Speaking of Pro Bowl, a team that didn't see too many Pro Ballers, for that matter, would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that Jacksonville will win their division tomorrow and finish 10-7, but they're on their way to a first-round exit, guys. I don't know if you guys have been watching T-Law play football, but he hasn't looked very good since his ankle injury followed by his concussion injury. Here's the deal, okay? The Jags play the Titans tomorrow. Titans aren't specifically playing good football or anything like that, but there's nothing in this team with Jacksonville that makes me say, oh yeah, they're going to beat, Miami or Buffalo, regardless of who wins, or they're going to go out and they're going to beat, even a Chiefs team right now. I just don't see that happening the way they've been playing football. Now,
especially with Trevor Lawrence hurt.
Especially with T-Law playing hurt the way he's been, because I'm going to be honest with you, I think he's still hurt. I've never seen him look this bad before in the game of football. Real quick, before I forget this, I want to go back and revisit these stats real quick for Antoine Winfield Jr. So, for those of you who haven't watched him play football, okay, he's definitely made his case for the Pro Bowl this year. He's established 3 interceptions, okay, which is kind of big right now. In case you guys haven't seen, the league is taking care of the football pretty well right now, okay? So, but he's got 3 interceptions, he's got 12 passes defended, he's got 5 fumble recoveries and 5 sacks, 117 total tackles, including 73 solo tackles, 48 tackles that he assisted with, and 7 QB hits. That doesn't even talk about tackles for loss. Mm-hmm. This man is a complete monster. He's Ed Reed and Brian Dawkins wrapped into one guy. Okay, mm-hmm. And he's playing like this, and you guys put Buda Baker in just for reference. So that's just something else to take in consideration. Buda Baker's stats are just nowhere near the same. I mean, he's got 0 interceptions, 77 tackles. He only played 11 games. The guy hasn't done much this year. Okay.
So why is he in there?
I don't know. I don't know. And I want to shine a light on that real quick because they're going to miss that. They're not going to talk about that on these other outlets. And it's just something else that I think everybody needs to know. When you're talking about a body of work, this is a body of work. This is a Pro Bowl body of work. This is a Defensive Player of the Year body of work. And for the record, he was already robbed of Defensive Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. His rookie season. Yes. Okay. Yes. So just in case you guys didn't know about that, y'all need to pay attention to Antoine. But going back to the Jags, as we said, the Jags have a chance to wrap up their division against the Titans tomorrow at 1 p.m. That should be a fairly unfundamental game that gets played, obviously. And when I say unfundamental, I mean that with all uncertainty. T-Law, again, has not been playing well. But the Titans aren't exactly playing good football either. They're sitting at 5-11 to in this game. The only saving grace for the Titans is that the Jags have to go visit them for the final game of the season. So, the good news, though, okay, is that the Jaguars are going to be activating Christian Kirk off of injury. All right, reserve. So they're going to have their number one, well, quote-unquote, number one receiver back in the lineup. Mm-hmm. However, it doesn't really matter. They were able to beat the Panthers yesterday. It wasn't or not yesterday, last week. My apologies, guys. Now, obviously, like I said, the Panthers aren't specifically playing good football. And this right here, when I'm about to give you this stat line, is the reason why I'm 100% sure that the Bucks are going to beat the Panthers tomorrow. The Jags, who the Bucks beat 30-12, okay, beat the Panthers 26-0. Guys, the Jaguars' defense isn't that good. Okay, it was earlier in the season. Currently, right now, they're not playing great defense. Okay, so I feel as though that the Buccaneers have a clear shot over the Panthers based off of last week's performance by the Jaguars and by the Panthers. There's nothing in this team that makes me concerned about playing them as we did earlier in the season when they had no wins, right? Because at that point, they're throwing everything and the kitchen sink at us. Okay, so of course they're going to have a shot to win that game. But that's what's going on there. Obviously, like I said before, the Jags winning their in. Again, I don't see them losing to the Titans. So good luck to them tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Again, that game is a 1 p.m. game, just like the Bucks game is. There's no reason for it to be flexed anywhere else again. These division games are kind of whacked out. Like, let's be honest, at the end of the season, I mean, they're kind of whacked out. These are two of the worst teams in the league that are playing two teams that are leading their division, regardless of what record says. Keep that in consideration. And so that's what's going on with the Jags. Dad, did you have anything on the Jags?
Yeah, I just got some quick stats here. First of all, congratulations to Josh Allen and Ross Matisik for making the Pro Bowl. And Trevor Etienne is only 49 yards away from a 1,000-yard season, and Calvin Ridley 90 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. So, they're having great seasons, and hopefully they will carry that momentum to a victory tomorrow.
Yeah, those are some pretty good stats, and it's ironic that you're naming players who play the exact same position of players on Tampa Bay who are stats away from being at 1,000, yada, yada, yada. Isn't that ironic that you find the Jags and Tampa Bay being almost the exact same boat here at the final week of the season, and they're playing division games against let's be honest, some of the worst teams in their division. That's absolutely insane, isn't it? And I also want to say that's a good look right there, too, for Tampa Bay. I agree. The Bucs making the playoffs there with Baker Mayfield was something that was not on my bingo card either. But I did believe that we could do it. I believed that we would do it in a much lighter fashion. But, hey, look, I'm not going to complain. Again, we got what we have. We have what we have. I say my apologies there, but we have what we have, and we're making the most of it. That's the one thing about Tampa Bay that I can say that they have done a decent job with this year. Now, head coaching, on the other hand, hey, listen, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk. We have the worst head coach in Florida right now. That's all I'm going to say.
And a developing offensive coordinator.
A developing offensive coordinator who caught fire for a few weeks with Baker Mayfield. So that's something else that will be important to pay attention to moving forward. But I still think we go out there and draft a quarterback. I think we have to. I think that's just a must this offseason. Of course, Duval, stand up, guys. Y'all,
Duval?
Yep, y'all. I think y'all are going to win that division tomorrow. So good luck to the Jags. I would much rather see the Jags in the playoffs than Tampa Bay, just because they have a little bit more going for them. But then the AFC is going to be noticeably diverse this playoff picture, coming up, especially after this week wraps up. So I can't wait to see what happens there, but go Jags. The Fins, on the other hand, don't have such problems, although they did have such problems last week against one MVP Lamar Jackson, guys. If anybody saw that game, it was a 56-19 routing of the Fins via the hands of the Ravens. Lamar Jackson went off about what you'd expect him to do. I think he went off because he knew that was going to be his final game of the season. There was no way the Ravens were going to start. Yeah. There was no way the Ravens were going to start Lamar in the final week of the season against a team teetering such as the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's my belief system there when it comes to them. But they will host the Bills tomorrow. The winner of this game wins the division. So you see the theme here in Florida. Win and you're in. Lose and question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay? So Fins are hosting the Bills, like I said, tomorrow, 8:20 p.m. That's probably going to be game of the week. It's going to be a good shootout, too. Fins are going to arrive in this game with 11-5 record. The Bills 10-6. I'm leaning Bills. After what I saw last week with the Fins, I can't say that I have complete trust and belief in them after getting blown out. I mean, they put up 70 points earlier this season, right? And then they allow 56 points. It's a 14-point differential. I mean, I don't know what to say. Finch, y'all are going to have to bring something if y'all want to win this game, because playing like y'all did last week guarantees a loss, okay, against the Bills. It's very much so that simple, okay? So, again, that game is going to be tomorrow, 8:20 p.m. Get ready for that, just in case you're wanting to watch a shootout for Sunday Night Football. This is going to be the game to watch. After that loss against the Ravens last week, that also essentially propelled the Ravens into the spotlight for the AFC. Heading into this playoff picture, as we see right now, again they're not playing any of their starters, and they're still tied 7-7 with Pittsburgh. As the game dwindles down into the later third quarter.
Yeah, less than 3 minutes left.
So the Finns are on the outside looking in, because there are a couple of AFC teams that just look a lot better than they do right now. Okay, and that's just what it comes down to, especially after that game against the Ravens. But win the division and they're in. It's that simple. If they win tomorrow and they win the division, good luck, Finns. We want you guys to win, but again, there's a lot of uncertainty after you play the way you did against the Ravens. I mean, what do you think, Dad?
Oh, first let's give some flowers out.
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna get some flowers out. We got some All-Pro honors. They got 6 of them. Mr. Mostert, 1,012 yards already for the season.
Yes, sir.
All-Pro. Tyreek Hill, 1,717 yards. All-Pro.
He's a monster.
Teron Armstead, tackle extraordinaire.
Yes.
Alec Ingold, fullback. Jalen Ramsey, cornerback. A nice rebound, Jalen, incidentally.
Still don't like you, Jalen.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, he went to Alabama.
QB.
Yeah, he went to Alabama. You know what that means.
He knows a little something about that.
Yeah, he knows something about
nice
some success.
rebound from last year also.
Absolutely. Tua, I'd also want to give personal flowers out to Tua just due to the fact that he's been able to stay healthy a lot better than he was last year. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Last year was kind of scary for his career at those back-to-back concussions.
Ooh, that's yes. And it's so important to stay healthy, and that offensive line did a really good job protecting him this year.
Absolutely. So, congratulations, Miami, on getting to where you've gotten. You guys just have to play football one more time and play well enough, win that division, and you guys can go from there. But again, you have to turn it up a notch once you get into the playoffs, because the rest of these teams are not coming to play; they're coming to win or go home. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on in the NFL, guys. Let's go ahead and transition over to college football. There's only one thing that we're going to talk about when it comes to college football. As you guys may know already, Miami lost their ball game to Rutgers. Why? I don't know. FSU. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You.
I'll go first. Okay. So here's the best way I can describe what's happening in Tallahassee right now. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. I told you so.
I knew you would say that.
I told you so. Listen. FSU. I understand your frustration. I do. But there was this lackadaisical talk going around talking about, hey, if FSU beats Georgia, they should be considered national champs. I say I agree with that. Here's the problem. I'm a Gator fan. Mm-hmm. We play Georgia every year. Mm-hmm. Didn't we see Georgia earlier this year?
Yes.
Okay. And we saw Georgia earlier this year. What did we say? There's no way in hell a Georgia team is going to lose to an FSU team that's playing like this. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't care about the stats. I don't care about who sat out versus who didn't sit out. Mm-hmm. And I don't really care about people's opinion towards the matter of, oh, well, they had people sit out because they don't want to get injured. Here's the deal.
26 people.
Here's the deal. First things first, right? Georgia had players that want to sit out as well. Guess what? They played.
Yes. They did.
They played.
They had the option, and they all played.
Is that
That's the difference in the game right there. The game was over before it even started.
It must be an SEC thing,
Must be. Best conference in
college
Best
football.
conference.
Best
in
conference.
football.
Okay. So the point being this: FSU, you guys dumped your pride as soon as you got robbed. You guys turned into little 5-year-old girls. Y'all wanted to complain and, oh, we should have been in. Here's the deal. You're right. You should have been in, but you complaining to the wrong people. I'm going to say this for the third straight week. Y'all want to complain to the team that's 60-point differentiated y'all. Okay? Complain to the team who lost to Alabama, which is why y'all got knocked out in the first place. Because if you come to me and you ask me who's more deserving, Florida State or Alabama after Alabama beats Georgia, it's Alabama. Because when you beat the number 1 team in the country and your only losses to the number 3 team in the country, I mean, that's a good pedigree if you ask me. That's a pretty, what you think? That's a good pedigree? I think that's a good pedigree. Yeah. Didn't Florida do that one time against Florida State when they won their first net? What was it, 97 or something like that? Yeah. Well, what was the score? 52-17? BCS championship ball game. Shout out Florida State one more time.
Yeah.
It's that simple, guys. I understand the frustration, but when Jordan Travis went down, your chances of beating any of those top 5 teams became slim to none. Mm-hmm. And realistically speaking, y'all didn't play anybody. And playing a 3-loss LSU team with a Jaden Daniels that couldn't beat Ole Miss, Alabama, or FSU, I'm not gonna sit here and buy that. You're not selling me that one. All right, go sell that to somebody else who has a dream, but you're not selling me that dream. What do you think, Dad?
Well, here's the bottom line. Okay, you got all this stuff going on with name, likeness, all this stuff where these collegiate players are getting endorsements and getting paid now.
And ideals.
Yeah. You know, all this is messing things up.
It's making the game soft.
Yeah. And you see more opt-outs and all this other crap.
20 years ago, you didn't hear about nobody sitting out on a ball game.
No.
What is that?
No. You know, some guy named Emmett Smith, Gator.
Woo!
Hey. I work for a durable medical equipment company that sold him the TENS unit that he used that helped him stay in that doggone game that got him to the Super Bowl. Okay? Against the San Francisco 49ers. All right? So, I may know a little something about Emmett's situation. He didn't sit down. He played. Why? Because there was a need to play. You want to show your stock out there. You don't sit out when the big time comes up. Okay? So, the way I see it, FSU, that's what I say.
That's it.
That was it. You had a chance to still stand up, next man up. You didn't do it. You deserve to lose to Georgia. And that's all I got to say about that.
And unfortunately, guys, although I do reside here in Florida, again, I rep the SEC. Before I rep, I'm have to rep my Gators all day and night. And let me tell you something. When you have these delusional people walking around Florida, even down over at USF, and they're saying, Florida State has a chance. They have no chance against Georgia. They had no chance. Jordan Travis could have played. They still wouldn't have had a chance. Okay? I'm telling you this right now, guys. The way football is played, college football is played in the SEC in comparison to the other conferences is completely and utterly different. Washington and Michigan are two examples of teams outside their or inside their conference that are playing as well as they could play. But realistically speaking, when you look top to bottom and you want to find the best conference in football, it's going to be the SEC. It's been the SEC the last 30 years. It is what it is. FSU, you guys need to get out of the ACC if you guys want to be well respected. Because again, beating FSU and Clemson, beating LSU and Clemson don't mean much when you're Washington and you've beaten Bo Nix twice, and then you go out and you beat Texas, okay? The team that beat Alabama. Now that's a resume.
Shout out Michael Penix!
Yes, sir. Michael Penix Jr. repping Tampa Bay. We saw your last interview. Shout out to Michael Penix for always keeping us on the map, bro. And we wish you the best of luck in this national football championship game.
Got you down for the win, Washington. Yes.
Go Washington. We're pulling for Washington. No hate against Michigan. We love Harbaugh, but hey, listen, Tampa Boys representing out there. Go ahead, Junior, do your thing. Now, let's go ahead and get into our first break of the evening, guys. When we get back, we're going to talk some NBA, NHL, and we'll wrap it up with some college basketball. But we had to get a little emotional over here because when it comes to rivalries, there's not too many as big as Florida State. And let me tell you something, guys. Florida State deserved to have their heads kicked in. That is undisciplined program that they have going on over there. And it's just unfortunate because in my humble belief, and I understand people, say that you want to save yourself from injury, don't play in the game if it's meaningless or whatever the case may be. I understand all that. But, 20 years ago when I was coming up, guys didn't sit out. You don't see LeBron and Michael and Kobe sit out basketball games. And in football terms, you never saw Joe Montana or Tom Brady sit out a game. They didn't sit out. They might run the score up and then sit down, but they don't. They start. They show up. They show up ready to play. And that's something that, like you said before, has made college football soft. Soft as all hell. But listen, guys, that's just my opinion. That's just what's going on there at college football. Of course, the other two teams, Florida, Miami, don't have anything to talk about because, they didn't do well. So that's neither here or there. But when we get back, we're going to, continue on. Like I said, NBA, NHL, we'll wrap things up with some college basketball. But thank you for having it locked here at Palm Tree Sports. This is the 60th installment. So thank you for being here for 60 joyful rides, guys. And I'm praying for, 180 more, So anyhow, keep it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, along with
Ellis Pujols.
And you have been listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Rate, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Coy Pools, your host, and as always, this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio. Welcome back. Thank you for having it locked here on IE Sports Radio, guys. And, of course, I have my special guest with me, Mr.
Ellis Boo Jones.
Yes, sir. My old man's here in the building, guys. He's keeping it locked and loaded over here with us, guys. And we're about to deviate away from some football. Let's get into some of these other sports, guys. I know you guys, we're super eccentric and excited about football. But, there are some other things to talk about. One of the other things to talk about right now is how somehow the Heat and the Magic seem to stay toe-to-toe with each other, rocking the exact same record at this point in the season. Talk to me about that, Ed.
I think, actually, I believe it's a 1-game edge for Miami right now. And both of the teams are doing all right. They're doing all right. Cleveland, what Cleveland? Jem B, shout out to you. I know I just sent you something. But Miami is doing a little bit better actually than Orlando this week.
A little bit.
My Magic had a rough West Coast swing.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
beating the Nuggets.
That was big.
Sweet!
That was good.
Okay, that was good.
Shout out to the Magic for that,
Oh
though.
my goodness, this is Poyolo, right?
Yeah.
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 Triple-double.
Paulo Blanchard.
Youngest to do it
Since-
since some guy named LeBron James.
LeBron?
that guy.
LBJ?
That guy right
The
there.
GOAT?
Yeah. Okay, Magic
Bad.
still playing good ball. Still playing some good
Sheep,
ball.
but you get what I'm saying.
All right, so we gotta keep it going, keep it flowing. So let's hope for some continuity. I know one of the guys got hurt during the Kings game,
Yeah.
and I wish him well.
With double overtime or something like that?
It was that was the
ridiculous.
unfortunately that was the difference. It was Wagner, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So and I wish him well. I know he's probably on a day-to-day basis right now,
Yeah.
and we'll just see what happens. But he's still got some time in the season here, so
Plenty of time.
Just keep playing good ball, and you'll be just fine. I think the Heat's a 4 seed, and I believe the Magic's a 5 seed
6.
right now.
They're 6.
Okay, so it's probably 6, 5, and 6 instead of.
You got a couple of teams with the same, all
Yeah.
the same record and whatnot. And
so-
tiebreakers all over the
Yeah,
place.
so but you're just sending my love out there to that. I just love playing some ball, man.
Oh yeah, man. Or Orlando stand up. It's I have respect for Orlando. I've always enjoyed Orlando. I think the reason why I start to fall off of the love that I had for Orlando early on in their creation was when they traded Shaq. I'm a be honest with you. That was the problem.
Speaking of,
I couldn't believe they traded Shaq. But speaking of Shaq, I mean, what was that information we had about him?
they're gonna be retiring Shaq's jersey, and I'm sure a lot of us are saying, "What took so long?"
Finally. I mean, he's only the most dominant player to ever do it, you know, and real
Hall of Famer.
yeah, like let's just be honest. Who wanted to guard Shaq? The man was a walking highlight reel, but he weighed 100 pounds, then 100 pounds more than the next walking highlight reel. That's the crazy part, you know. And
He'll probably get his Lakers jersey retired too.
I think he should have them all retired, except for that Celtic. Well, he was with the Celtics, right? At one point.
I don't remember if he. No, he was with the Heat.
The Heat. No,
He
he
was
was with
with
the
the
Heat. That's
Heat,
right.
wasn't he?
No, not the Heat. Not the Heat jersey. You don't got to retire the Heat jersey.
No.
You don't have to retire that
no,
one.
no.
Retire LeBron's Heat jersey. Retire and D Wade for that matter. Retire those ones. But so you guys get the idea though. The Heat, the Magic rocking the same record right now at this point in the season. I'm glad to see the Magic playing well again. It's been great teamwork. We said this last year. It was going to be great teamwork that would propel this team to success, and that's what's been happening this year. I thought it would take a year longer. If you guys go back to last year's shows, I was saying that I think it would take about another year, another draft after this one. But it seems to me that this part in the season, they're already showing their worth. Paolo Blanchard, the youngest walking triple-double since LeBron James. You love to see it. That's really good news for the Magic, especially when you're building upon a corner piece. But, you know, like you said, you mentioned that the Heat were playing slightly better basketball. It's ironic, though, because they trade losses for victory over this last two games. So for the Heat, they lost to the Suns 113-97. The Suns were rocking a 19-16 record, so both these teams are pretty evenly matched when you look at it from that perspective. But the Magic upsetting the Nuggets, which was just that. The Nuggets rocking a 25-12 record, clearly one of the best teams in the West. And also the team that won the championship last year. The Magic showing that they can hang with the best of them, which has got to be a great sign. I mean, let's just be honest. When was the last time we saw the Magic look this good?
It's been a good minute.
It's been a good minute. You heard it first there from the old man. It's been a good minute, guys. And building upon that, the next games for the Heat and the Magic should be gimme games when you look at who they're playing. So obviously, the Heat are going to be playing the Rockets. The Rockets aren't the worst team, but they're not the best team. The Heat have fundamental basketball and coaching on their side here. They should be able to pull out of that game with a comfortable lead. That game's going to take place Monday, January 8th at 7:30 p.m. So just in case you're looking for something to watch early on that Monday before Monday Night Raw, or you know whatever your program is for that evening, there you go. That's going to be a decent game to check out. Again, Heat Rockets. Like I said, Monday, January 8th, 7:30 p.m. if you want to watch that game. The Magic, on the other hand, are going to be going over to play the Hawks. The Hawks exactly aren't playing the greatest of basketball either, for that matter. That game is going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m., just in case you're wanting to watch something after, the early games, the early football games, or before Sunday Night Football. Again, the Sunday Night Football game is going to be Bills-Fins, 8:20 p.m. So there you go, just to alternate your time space. Get ready for that, because this Magic game will still be going on. You'll be alternating channels, just in case you want to watch both. So I think, obviously, the Heat and the Magic will win both these games, and at this point, Monday evening, we'll be saying, they still have the same record. I mean, it's insane to see both these teams playing well right now. I mean,
Love to see both of them make the playoffs, man.
that would be great. That would be pretty cool. Imagine a playoff series, all Florida playoff series. I mean, these guys would be thrilled, don't you think? I mean, now we don't have to jump on a plane, or if you do jump on a plane, it's an hour ride.
Short 2.5, 3 hour.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I mean, who doesn't want to get to Miami in a heartbeat and then be back home that same evening, right? Like, who wouldn't want to do that, or the following day or whatever? But so hats off to the basketball teams here in Florida. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Not too much more to say outside of that. Again, this point in the season, we're rocking the same record. You guys expect to see what you expect to see, and that's where we're at right now. So good job, Miami. Good job, Orlando. Keep it going, guys. Let's go ahead and move on over to hockey. Let's talk about what's going on with the Bolts. Now, the Bolts still seem to be trending up right now for the most part. Now, I'm doing that air quotations like I'm Rick Sanchez, guys. If you guys watch Rick and Morty, I'm sure you know what that means. But, yeah, realistically speaking, there's no guarantee that that the Bolts are going to make the playoffs, but they're eyeballing that wild card spot, aren't they, Dad?
Yeah, we're a little spoiled here in Tampa Bay, though, because
Little
they've had such a great run. Yeah, but with these
great second run at that.
Yes, and with the injuries to the goalie and Vasilevsky still getting his act together there, and
It's gonna take some time.
it's still we're still trying to find some continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to those defensemen stepping up and scoring goals.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still ninth in the conference. They're a game back.
Yeah.
And they still got some work to do to get it together, but I have confidence in these guys. And once you get into the playoffs,
Anything
it doesn't
can happen.
matter.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
anything
doesn't
can happen.
matter where you go. You know, you can quote The Rock with "It doesn't matter." Okay,
That's
anyway.
right. Shout out to The Rock for returning to Raw on Monday. That was a great, fun
Oh,
segment.
that was fun.
But yeah, that's a really good point, especially when you think about how hockey has shaped over the last few years and whatnot, with Tampa Bay being at the head, winning 2 championships, scored 2 Stanley Cup Finals, and a 3rd appearance that didn't go our way, guys. I've said this before. You just heard my old man say it. We're a little spoiled here, and we love our team. So let's go Bolts. You guys can do it. The question is, will you do it against one of the best teams in hockey at the moment, and that's going to be the Bruins, okay? So tonight, the Bolts are going to visit the Bruins. That's going to be a 7 p.m. game, just in case you guys want to eyeball some ice. Speaking of eyeballing, like you said, they're sitting at 9th a game back in the playoff picture. Vasilevsky hasn't been exactly the cornerstone that he's been in the past, but that's okay. We have time to fix that. Still relatively early in the season, but and when I say early, I mean obviously because we're not in the playoffs. But the point being this. The Bolts are eyeballing that playoff spot like it's Pirates of the Caribbean and they're Captain Jack Sparrow, okay? Like, there's a legitimate chance for this team to make it. They have to continue to play well. Unfortunately, playing the way that they have over the last 4 games is not going to do it. They're 2-2 over the last 4 games. They're going to have a chance to right that wrong here against the Bruins. They're going to have to play solid hockey to do it, especially when they're visiting. They're going up north to play some hockey, guys, and that's always been a bit of a struggle for Tampa Bay. Playing at home has been a little bit easier, and obviously I think that's because we're in the South. I don't think people expect to fully be in this element when you're playing a game such as hockey. But hey, that's what we do down here. It is what it is. Now, after the game against the Bruins, the next game is going to be against the Kings. That game is going to be Tuesday, January 9th at 7 p.m. Just in case you're looking for something to watch there on Tuesday. It's going to be a little bit later start time than what we're accustomed to. It's going to be the exact same time, just on a different date than what we're accustomed to. It should still go our way, though. I think that the Bolts have just as good as any chance of any team to make the playoffs. Again, they're eyeballing it, but they're going to have to play better. And going 2-2, that's just not the answer right now. I mean, there's another team in Florida that seems to be playing pretty good hockey. What do you think about that, Dad?
The Florida Panthers, man, they're doing good. And we took it on the chin to the Panthers last week.
Yeah.
Yep, and
had a feeling that was going to happen.
yeah, but when you got a team that's 3rd in the conference right now, you're playing some good hockey right now. So, shout out to them. I know they beat Vegas after that as well. And,
That's a big one.
They are definitely playing some good hockey right now. They just need to keep doing what they're doing.
So it's really just going to come down to which team wants it more at this point. Obviously, I believe that it's going to be the Bolts, but that's because I'm biased. The Panthers are playing really good hockey. I won't say that they're not. I mean, as a matter of fact, they were able to absolutely destroy the Avalanche today. That's an 8-4 ball game, or not ball game, but puck game. My apologies. But like I said, when you're one of the best teams in the nation, this is what you come to expect. Now, the Avalanche also a really good team. Both these teams rocking a very similar record at 25-12, 2 ties for the Panthers, and then 3 losses for the Avalanche. Again, this is what we're doing down here in Florida. We're playing quality hockey, and you expect it from both teams, and here you are receiving it from both teams. Good job for the Panthers. Next game for the Panthers is going to be against the Blues. That's going to be Tuesday, January 9th, also at 7 p.m. So guess what, guys? You want some Florida hockey? You get it. Both games are going to be taking place at the exact same time. So if you're in the market for hockey on Tuesday, there you go. 2 great games coming your way. You're going to be alternating. You're going to be hitting that last on your remote a couple of times. But yeah, there you go, guys. Bolts hockey, Panthers hockey, same time. Same date, same time. Tuesday, January 9th, 7 p.m. Get ready for that, guys. So again, that's what's going on there for hockey. Let's go ahead and slide on to the final piece of information I have for you this evening. That's going to be college basketball. This is going to be actually a little bit more dramatic to talk about than in recent times. I have to say I'm very impressed with the Gators playing basketball this year. Unfortunately, as impressed that we have been with the Gators playing basketball, they were not able to pull off a win against Kentucky. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I watched the majority of the game. They played a phenomenal game until the fourth. Not the fourth quarter. I was the fourth quarter, like I'm watching NBA.
The latter part of the second half.
The latter part of the second half would be exactly correct. So here's the deal. Early on the game, Gators are splash bros. You ever seen Golden State in 2016? That's what the Gators looked like in the first half. The problem was they used up all their magic in the first half. See what I did there? Florida used their magic in the first half. You like that? So throw them all in there, right there. I'll tell you what, they were catching fire, but it looks like it was just a little bit of heat, huh? In any case, guys, the Gators were not able to overcome Kentucky. Kentucky wins a 2-point ball game, 87-85. That game took place earlier this year. If the Gators had won that game, they'd surely be ranked. Unfortunately, they did not win that game, dropping them to a 10-4 record. Kentucky is going to move on to a 11-2 record. Congratulations, Kentucky, in the win. Obviously, they open up SEC play against Kentucky, but for those of you who do not recognize Florida as a basketball team, we have won 2 national championships, haven't we? Okay,
yes.
Cool. Just checking to make sure that status still there. Respect be owed to my Florida Gators. They played a phenomenal game against Kentucky. Again, they just became a little undisciplined towards the end of the game. Didn't have some calls go their way. Of course, the NCAA is going to push Kentucky. Kentucky is a purely basketball college and team for that matter. So congratulations to Kentucky, but we know that the Gators were the better team today. You guys just got the edge there by 2 points. You expected it. It is what it is. But the Gators will continue SEC play against Ole Miss next week. Not next week, but
Their next game.
Next game. It is next week, but you get what I'm saying. We're flowing into the next week. That game against Ole Miss, 22nd ranked Ole Miss, is going to be Wednesday, January 10th, 9 p.m. Just in case you're wanting a good basketball game to watch out, this game should be a little bit easier for the Gators to win, and if they do not let this loss against number 6 Kentucky get to them, they will have a legitimate chance to beat SEC Ole Miss in that game on Wednesday, guys. Dad, what do you think about that?
I hope lightning strikes.
I hope lightning strikes indeed. I like that one.
But real quick on the Kentucky game, okay? We talked about this as earlier on.
Yeah.
And they should have never switched when the start of the second half started on the way they were D'ing up on Kentucky. That made the biggest difference in the game, I thought.
Agreed.
Because once that happened, then you put yourself in more of a defensive position. And apparently the final result reflects that.
Well, I'll tell you this much. In 1993, Bill Cowher used the line to describe a football game. And he said, just like any heavyweight fight, somebody has to throw the first punch. I don't want to wait around. I want to deliver, not accept. Let's go, man. So that, to me, is one of the greatest pep talks, excuse me, before any sporting event or anything competitive-wise. He's simplifying the game state, okay? So for those of you who do not know what the term simplifying the game state means, is he's bringing the game back to its most basic form, and it's saying, listen, there are 2 things that are going to take place, okay? 1, the game is going to be played. 2, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, okay? If you want to win, you gotta be aggressive. You gotta be the guy taking the center of the octagon. You gotta be the guy leading with the jab. Use whatever analogy you want to use, but the path still remains the same. To win, you have to outstrike your opponent. Doesn't matter if it's boxing, doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you want to win, you gotta be able to do that. Defensively, right, you have to counter-strike. The Gators did a phenomenal job of that in the first half. But during the second half, Kentucky seems to have switched up their offense a little bit. They want to go a little bit smaller, a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressive tempo-wise. And that actually started to work for them. The big issue here is that the Gators were playing a tremendous defense, especially in transition in the first half, which led to them forcing Kentucky into turnovers, which the Gators then used their own transition offense to set up great open looks, especially from the three-point ball, which they were able to down. Unfortunately, in the second half, there was no continuation of that, at least to start the second half. They would go on to adjust a few minutes into the game, but by then, Kentucky had already gotten the Gators into a counter-punching scenario where now Kentucky is counter-punching versus the Gators. And if you're biting on feints, you're going to lose that game late, especially when they're getting to the line a lot better. Now, I will say that officiating has been a problem across all sports. This was an example of it. Kentucky did not win the cleanest of games, but they did play a good game. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I would like to see more proper officiating in which there's no bias. There was a little bit of bias in that game. Gators still could have won, however, not making any excuses. Gators should have won, and that's just what takes place there. Again, they just opened up SEC competition, so from this point forward, every game matters, especially losing to number 6 Kentucky. You got to win out in the SEC if you want to go to the big dance. Very simple as that, okay? FSU, on the other hand, they playing basketball about the same way they play in football. Now, when I last saw it, that they were beating Virginia Tech 68-63. That's a 5-point margin, but there was still plenty of time to go in the game. Virginia Tech rocking a 9-4 record. Surely may have been able to come back. We're going to feed you those stats as soon as we get them in a second. FSU rocking a 7-6 record. Desperately needs this win if they're trying to save their season. Unfortunately, with 6 losses, it's going to be very hard for them to bounce back at this point. I don't fully think that their season is over, but for all intents and purposes, it may very well be with those 6 losses this early in the season. They were able to outscore Virginia Tech 77-74 to wrap up that game. So congratulations, Florida State, on that victory. But it doesn't get any easier for them as they move into a 8-6 record. They will have to go see Wake Forest, okay? Wake Forest is on a tear here in Florida. They've already beaten the Gators. They've already beaten the Canes earlier today. And now they're going to go see FSU, and they're looking to close out Florida gameplay with 3 straight W's. That, it's kind of a sad thing when you look at Wake Forest, but Wake Forest is not exactly a bad team this year. They're rocking 11-3 record and really hitting their stride, especially here in the South. They're going to be playing the Canes next week. That's going to be something for you to look out. And I think that, they have just as good a shot as anybody else to win this game. I mean, realistically speaking, what do the Wake Forest, I don't know what Wake Forest's their mascot is, but what does Wake Forest really have to lose? I mean, they're laying it all on the line every game, and they're playing pretty well. Speaking of playing well, Wake Forest was able to defeat the Canes in a ball game that went 86-82 Wake Forest way. The next game for the Canes doesn't get any easy either. They're going to go visit Louisville Wednesday, January 10th at 7 p.m. So shout out Wake Forest for playing good football. It sucks that they're destroying the state of Florida, but hey, it is what I said, football. Basketball. My apologies, guys. But right. Good job, Wake Forest, on your tear here in Florida. FSU, Gators, Canes, y'all got to get it together, guys. I mean, you're making Wake Forest look like a Power 5 program right now,
Stop that momentum for Florida there.
Gotta do something.
Gotta help them. Stop that momentum here.
Gotta do something there, Florida State. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what's going on there in college basketball, guys. Again, the best looking team right now in Florida seems to be the Florida Gators. To start the season, it was definitely the Canes. But the Canes, by no means out of this mix yet. Good luck, Canes, in your next game against Louisville. Again, that game Wednesday, January 10th, 7 p.m. If you want to watch FSU college basketball against Wake Forest, that game's Tuesday, January 9th at 7 p.m. And, of course, the next Gator game, again, SEC competition is going to be against Ole Miss. That's Wednesday, January 10th, 9 p.m. Dad, do you have anything else about college basketball?
Not really. Not as far as college basketball goes. I think it's still early.
Yeah.
We're a ways from March Madness still, so everything's still coming into play.
Yeah. And once March Madness comes around, we'll have a lot more to dig into, especially once that time frame starts to swing. We'll start getting the brackets and all that other good stuff.
Best time of the year for basketball.
Best time of the year for basketball. Absolutely. And then you get the NBA Finals not too shortly after that, So that's always something to look forward to. But, guys, thank you so much for having it locked here on Palm Tree Sports Radio. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to get on here and be able to share some stats with you about what's going on here in the state of Florida. Definitely a lot more to talk about with the turn of the new year as we get ready to head into the playoff picture for the NFL. Good luck again to all the teams in Florida, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All 3 teams win. All 3 teams win their division, and they are in. Dad, do you have anything else you want to add for them?
Yeah. Actually, let me give a couple quick shout-outs because you know how we are with family.
Absolutely.
Mike, I'm looking at the 14-7 score with Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh looks like they're in the red zone with 4:52 to go in the fourth quarter, so it's looking good for them right now. Shout out Mike Mahavalik. Get well, brother.
Love you, Mike.
Praying for you, bro. Okay? Happy 18th birthday, Bella. Happy 5th birthday, Autumn. I hope the kids had a great time up in Z Hills.
Love you guys.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Yes, definitely. And, Corey, you know how we stress family around here.
Yeah, hey, listen, guys. If you guys don't know, as you guys can see, I'm very close with my dad. I'm also very close with my mother, and we stress this every week. I always want to make sure.
Sweetheart.
Love you, Mom. Always want you guys to remember, spend time with your loved ones. We live in a crazy, crazy, crazy world right now. And if you don't think it's crazy, just get on any news outlet. Go get on any social media platform. Go look at anything. Pick up a newspaper. You're going to see something that you didn't think that you were going to see. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, again, it takes a village. It takes a village no matter what. And I'm just wishing for the best for everybody. As I'm always lifting up everybody in my prayers. I'm praying for this country. I'm praying for this organization, IE Sports Radio family.
Yes.
Always lifting up the names. Always lifting up everybody here, wishing nothing but the best, praying for nothing but the best for us all. But spend some time with your family, spend some time with your loved ones, watch a game, have a drink, enjoy the time, because tomorrow is not guaranteed and nor is it promised, okay, guys? We always stress family around here, so just keep that in consideration as you guys continue to move forward in your walk, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And again, as always, thank you for having it locked here on IE Sports Radio. This has been Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pools, your host, along with
Ellis Pujols.
We have had a wonderful time with you guys. Look forward to seeing him again more consistently. This is something that I look forward to doing many times over. And again, thank you for having it locked here. Thank you guys for everything that you bring, all the support. And I look forward to seeing you guys same time, same place, next week. Have a wonderful week. Peace.